Hello, this is the first video in my campaign diary of a homebrew D&D campaign. If you watched the intro to the series, you will have noticed that I am wearing the exact same clothes. That's because I'm shooting the intro and the first two campaign diaries back to back. Also, I'm gross and I only own one set of clothes and I don't shower. So the party that I am running at the moment. I didn't want to say no to anyone. I really wanted everyone to get into this and to really get attached to their characters. So I kind of ran through the list of all the races and classes. A couple of players weren't experienced in the idea of a race-class combo. I mean, why would you? It's all bizarre fantasy stuff. So the way I explained it to them was that your race is where you're from and your class is your job. So you could be a Nigerian fireman or a Mexican accountant. One of my players decided he was going to be a Dragonborn accountant. Which I said yes to, but he also has to be a druid. Dragonborn druid is Slar. He is also an accountant and an artist, and everything he sees is the color blue. It's not colorblind. We don't know what it is yet. Slar is quite short for a Dragonborn, like really short, 4 foot something, 5 foot something. He's traveling with his blood brother, Thardarius. Slar is a brass Dragonborn. Thardarius is a black Dragonborn ranger. Thardarius player insists that he is 8 feet tall. For the sake of flavor, why not have him 8 foot tall? I kind of like the idea of two blood brothers that are literally half the height of each other. His player liked the idea of the two Dragonborn traveling the wilds together, which I loved as well. Thardarius also has a sword and a shield. So he's going for a strength build. I don't know how viable that is, but he likes the idea of being a very large ranger, and he does exactly what Slar says all the time. Neither of them know much about Draconia. They've been raised either in the wild, or Thardarius was raised by humans in a fighting pit or arena, or taught to fight by humans. None of them speak Draconic. In addition, we have Szechuan Squanch, who is a Triton druid. It kills me saying his name, but it's great. I actually do really like it. It just makes me die a little inside every time I refer to him by name. For some reason, I let my players look through Volo's Guide to Monsters, and they picked the real obscure races that I don't know all that well. Szechuan left his homeland under the waves because he enjoyed smoking the herb. I'm not sure how that works underwater, but chewing it, I guess. So he came up onto the mainland to look for some strong weeds to smoke. I don't know. He's kind of developing a bit beyond that. He's not too deep a character yet. Szechuan's player is uncovering a little bit of depth behind him through his bond with our Kenku rogue. Whistler is traveling with Szechuan. He saved his life from some kind of beastie, some life-threatening threat. He actually gave Whistler his name because up until then he had just been whistling, and Szechuan gave him his name of Whistler. We also have our tiefling wizard, Willis Wilderfolk, who is a drinker, kicked out of his sister's pub because he accidentally cast a spell at her. Went wandering, ended up recruited onto a pirate vessel of some sort. That life didn't work out. Gonna work out the specifics of why. And then lastly, we have Tom Sevenstrings, our halfling bard, the most normal of the group, who is going to end up being kind of the anchor, because this is a pretty freakish group of strange people, and the tiny little half man is going to be the most relatable member of the group when they enter society. Tom is just kind of looking to travel, sing some songs, have some adventures, and maybe make some friends. He's very open to whatever's going on, and he's interacting with other players. So I think Tom is going to be the reason this bizarre collection of characters works at all. So the party starts out walking along a forest dirt road with the caravan driver, Berg. He just wants to get where he's going. He's bringing these people with him. He wants to get paid and get it done. Every so often taking a sip from his flask. He's fairly scraggy. His clothes are dirty. He doesn't really give a shit what anyone thinks about him. And an unknown human called Corbin, who has a lute on his back. A traveling bard. Sort of a gaunt face. Clothes that don't seem to fit quite right. He's got kind of a bit of scruff on his face. Corbin, he's quite charming, or a little seedy, depending on how you look at him. Corbin is quite slippery, but seems to mean no harm. And as the party wanders and chats to him, they kind of find out that he doesn't actually play any instruments. The lute is for show. He's traveling to experience the world and actually become a bard. He doesn't really know what he's doing. As the party wandered down the dirt road, failing a passive perception check, a spear hurled through the air directly into Szechuan's shoulder. Didn't pin him, but it ripped through. And then a Noel Fielding burst out from the bushes. attacking the party. Explaining combat as we went, the party dealt with it fairly handily. He wasn't an easy kill, but as the Gnolls' health dropped to more or less half, a second Gnoll appeared from the other side of the caravan, attacking the completely defenseless Willis and Tom, our wizard and bard, because everyone had rushed forward to kill this Gnoll thinking he was the only threat. Managing to avoid damage, the squishy wizard and bard survived the initial surprise attack, still not in a particularly safe position. In an attempt to wipe out the first Gnoll before he can do anything, our wizard, Willis, hurled a fireball.
So I'm gonna run up, take a swig from my flagon.
Oh, nice.
Yo, I can help, boys!
And rolled a 1.
Taking a swig from your flagon as you're about to cast a fireball, there's quite a lot of alcohol dripping from your chin. And as you draw your hand back to cast the flame, it catches on your lip. And you go to swat the flame away, and you hurl a fireball, and this tree is now on fire.
So he, in fact, blew up a nearby tree, setting it ablaze, but it happened to not be near any other trees, so it didn't spread and destroy the entire forest. It did put everyone a little bit on edge because it did a lot of damage. I let him roll damage just to see how big the explosion would be, and I think it was 4d10s or something, whatever it is. Okay, well, first of all, it's fire bolt, 1d10. That makes more sense. So he missed, anyway, is the point. Blew up a tree. Our Kenku rogue whistler snuck up behind the first Gnoll, and without any flash, slid his short sword down into the gap between his shoulder and neck, which there is a word for, but I don't know. No one else in front could see what had happened initially. As the Gnoll fell, Whistler tumbled forward, stood up, whipped his hood back, and let out a little whistle, as is his way. So the second Gnoll, Noel Gallagher, charged our squishy casters. Didn't do anything lethal. Thardarius, our massive Dragonborn ranger, came sprinting forward, rolling a 20.
From the distance, all you can hear is as it gets faster and faster. Thardarius leaps over all of you, including like the halfling the team, because he's fucking massive.
Nice.
Lands on the other side, and then literally as soon as he hits the ground, he swings the sword around like this in like a 180 upwards.
Nice.
Holding the shield in the air, and the Gnoll splits in half.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
With blood raining, like fireworks from behind. He looks up to Slar as if, like that.
Good.
Successfully killing their first enemies, the party reassembles, wondering where Corbin's been this whole time. They do not trust Corbin at all. After the fight, Corbin scurries out from underneath the wagon, terrified, and as they carry on their journey walking past Noel Fielding, Corbin kind of recomposes himself, looks down with disgust at the Noel, and spits on him. The party fucking loves this. Like, okay, this guy's scared, but you know, he spits, and I like that. The party are pretty banged up. Berg, the caravan driver, suggests camping for the night as it's late and everyone's wrecked. So they pull in off the road into a clearing by the river, setting up to camp for the night. And Slar, our Dragonborn druid, being the artist that he is, decides to paint the scene. The eager amateur DM that I am, I pushed. I was like, is anyone looking at this painting? Because I had noted, what if Slar painted the scene?
Myself.
That's an ass paint.
Is this you showing it to the group?
Everyone see my painting.
You actually did something.
I was painting.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
Holy shit.
Hour.
Alright.
It's
What's the
the
Oh,
forest.
the river.
That's the river that we're at.
What lovely shades of blue.
So I ask Szechuan to roll perception. He rolls something reasonable. The DC was 5, I decided, because I wanted this to happen. Again, amateur DM, don't know what I'm doing.
Speak from skirts, man.
So, as you look at the trees in
made
Slar's
sure-
painting,
I made
you
sure to
notice
paint everything.
he's drawn what looked to you like eyes in the trees on the far side of the river.
Oh, I thought they were just apples.
The party immediately gets ready for combat. They're not rested, they're not happy with this at all, but they're not entirely sure what to do, because as they get ready for combat, the eyes are now obvious and not moving. Berg is unfazed, Corbin starts getting a little bit antsy, and Tom, the bard, decides that he's going to cast Minor Illusion, and he casts the illusion of a human man on the other side of the river in front of the eyes. And as he does so, the eyes fail their DC. I think they have to fail a DC. The illusion worked, and they hear whining and things run off. Eventually, when things calm down, the party decides to go to sleep. I insisted that someone was able to keep watch. I wasn't fully aware of the rules for exhaustion. I was like, if you want to keep someone up to maintain watch, you can, because I had two eventualities for if someone stayed up and if someone did not. And I really regret pushing this. So our Kenku rogue decides he's going to keep watch. He sits up on top of the caravan, facing out. 2 jackals attack. Wild dogs. Whistler yells out for everyone to wake up. I have the party roll wisdom saves. Fairly low. Szechuan rolls incredibly low. I forget what it was. It was a 2 or something. It wasn't a nat 1. So he doesn't wake up. I did make a point of saying that you don't sleep in armor because for the sake of everyone learning the game, it's just more fun this way. And again, I'm a bad DM. They start fighting the 2 wild dogs that are attacking. Whistler is up on top of the caravan. The jackal can't quite get up to him, so starts firing arrows into the jackal, nailing it in the shoulder, doing a chunk of damage. And from behind Whistler, he hears this giggling, and the party turns around to see Corbin sprouting fur.
From behind you hear this kind of you look over and Corbin is now sprouting fur.
Oh, fuck!
I knew he could be trusted.
Eventually revealing himself as a jackal were.
Oh, fuck!
The party were not thrilled.
Now stands up about 7 feet tall, covered in hair. His face has gotten far longer.
They distrusted Corbin and then decided he was okay, and then he turned out to be a beastie. They didn't like him. Corbin makes a beeline for the caravan where Whistler is on top dealing with the jackal, pulls a scimitar from underneath the caravan, leaps up on top of it and starts wailing on Whistler. Knocks him out. Whistler is now making death saving throws. Slar goes wolf form, ends up tearing the throat of one of the jackals out. Willis the wizard puts Corbin to sleep. Knowing he is asleep until attacked, they heal up Whistler, who then decides to tie up Corbin so that even when he wakes up, he'll be restrained. I figure I would have had him grappled with the opportunity to break out. Not entirely sure. But it turns out it didn't matter because Thardarius leapt up onto the caravan. He sliced him up good. So Corbin's dead. In the meantime, over by the river, the last jackal had been knocked into the water. Willis sprints into the water as far as he can go and casts Chill Touch. The hand bursts out, shoots under the water, lifts the jackal up into the air and breaks its neck.
It sounds like ice cracking, and it breaks the wolf's neck.
I'm so turned on right now.
The hand shatters and the wolf flops into the water and starts floating down through a pool of its own blood.
Fuck you, Jack.
Where's Corbin? Is he alright?
Now in hindsight, Corbin shouldn't have been that easy to kill because I wasn't looking at the monster manual the whole time. He actually was resistant to piercing, slashing and bludgeoning. The party would have killed him anyway, but I don't think it would have happened there. Turns out Berg has been leaning against the caravan wheel this whole time, completely unfazed, just taking a few sips from his flask. Insists that everyone camps for the night, and that was where we closed out the session. Eager DM that I am, I ended up explaining to the party what would have happened if Whistler hadn't kept watch. And I really regret doing that because now I can't use that. Whoever had rolled the highest perception would have woken up to kind of choked gargles and looked over to find Corbin with a knife buried into Berg's chest and Berg choking. Corbin would have transformed, then the jackals would have attacked from stealth and just completely ruined them. And then I was promptly told, oh, that's cool, like in 310 to Yuma, which I have seen, must have been in the back of my mind. Yes, like 310 to Yuma. That seems to be happening a lot. A lot of scenes are happening and people are like, oh cool, that's like this film or this book. And I'm like, shit, yes, it is, damn it. So that was session 1. No one died. People almost did. I kept a meager attempt at holding the rules together, and most importantly, everyone seemed to have fun, including me. Yeah, I think I've kind of got them hooked, and I'm definitely going to start getting better at this. I mean, I have to. Bye. Just kind of horizontally.